Hello everyone and welcome to our beta showcase of Revolt. We've made a lot of progress since alpha, and today I'll be doing something a little bit different and letting the game speak for itself in terms of its gameplay. But just so you're aware of some of the changes that we've made before we go into the gameplay, I'll outline some now. So we've made quite a lot of changes in terms of the gameplay itself. So previously the game was sort of an exploration shooter, and now it is sort of more of an arena shooter. So there will be waves of enemies that the player needs to combat in this one combat room. Then there'll also be a separate room to showcase the movement as well. So, and speaking of the enemies, they'll be spawned on random point locations, so it's going to be different every time. And the enemy behavior isn't quite finalized just yet, so you might see some unusual enemy behavior, but we are working towards that. You'll also see our objective system being used, so there'll be pointers around the map to show the player where they need to go, and also pop-ups on the screen just to give their objective. There'll be cutscenes as well, but as I'll showcase soon, and also voice acting narrative. We are working on the audio balancing so that the player can hear the voice acting while the music is going on, the awesome music that's been made for our game. But we will be adding subtitles in the future just so the player can also read what they're being told if they want to as well. And finally, pickups have been balanced and to reflect what their player is picking up, so you'll clearly be able to see what you are picking up in terms of the ammo type or armor, and then also be a pop-up on the HUD as well. But anyway, enough of me speaking, let's jump into the gameplay. First, there'll be some narrative spoken out to the player. This will be spoken to them, but you can read it if you want. But it's also a great time to look at the beautiful concept art that's been made for our game by our concept artist. And here is some more of that lovely concept art. So as I said, I'll be letting the game speak for itself, so let's jump into the gameplay.
Prisoner 604626. Your rehabilitation is completed. You've worked so diligently to fulfill the Federation's needs. Most request. Praying for the foreseeable future. Practicing combat training. Your survivors expected.
There we go, so that was 2 waves, filling up 1 encounter there. So once the encounter is finished, they'll be directed to go to the movement section. But just before we do, I want to focus on some beautiful art assets that have been made for our game already, and the beautiful lighting that's been done. So as you can see, we are still working on this in terms of the textures and in terms of populating the environment as well. So there is some progress still to be made there, but this is getting done and should be done pretty quickly and soon. Obviously we are still balancing as well and trying to make the arena feel as smooth as possible and as free flowing as well. So we do want to add our explosive barrels that we do have around the arena as well, and we will be balancing the waves and the AI continuously to make it a great experience for the player. You'll also see that the movement section does have some different assets in it and different textures. This is because we are using an art pack for this area, but the hope is in the future that the artists on our team will be able to texture this area differently to conform more to the textures that are utilized in this area already, just so that it's more standardized, but we will be using the assets that are available to us. So I'll let the movement area speak for itself for a moment.
6. Can you hear me, 6? You've got to break out. This isn't you. Don't become a tool for everything you stood against. If you can just find a way out, we can find you, 6. We can help you. Just resist.
So there we go, a bit of voice acting to direct us and tell us what we're doing, what our mission is now, and you'll also see the waypoint system being utilized as well. So this is the movement section that I've been going through. So again, we are playtesting this and balancing it accordingly, making changes to what we believe maybe is too hard or too difficult. Particularly this pipe section has been said to be a little bit too difficult just because of the complexity of it. But it is actually quite easy if you just take it kind of slow. But yeah, as I said, we are continuously balancing and continuously trying to just improve the gameplay, make it a bit more smooth. In the coming weeks, we'll be doing more balance into the movement, making that a lot smoother because players sometimes a bit bouncy at the moment, so it's important to get that just feeling right. You would have seen as well that the health system and everything has been updated as well. Just to give the player the full feedback when they're playing the game, so using damaging vignettes and hit markers and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, as you've been hearing this whole time, we've had this beautiful music playing as well, and we'll be finalising the music cues. There will be separate music made for the movement section itself. The guns have been modified with recoil, and you can see the bullets ejecting as well. So that's some great VFX that have been done there. And you would have seen that some different VFX depending on which surface you are shooting. That's particularly in the combat area. And the weapons are now cyclable through the number press as well. So it's not just a scroll wheel, but I prefer to use a scroll wheel. You'll also see our arms have been textured as well, which is lovely. So this is the end of the movement section. So once I hit this box, this will trigger us back to the combat room. We will be having a separate corridor here just to kind of do some smoke and mirrors to say the player's being teleported back down to the combat area. And once they get in here, they can take a little moment's break maybe before they are ejected back into the combat area. And obviously it will be a lot more complicated and a lot harder now in terms of the waves. So I hope you've enjoyed this showcase of Revolt. I'll do some gameplay just to finish off, but yeah, hope you've enjoyed a lot, and thank you very much for your time.